Go Dreaming the New Dream. Hi, welcome to Radio FM 88 Australia. And tonight's show comes live from Springwood Studios in Brisbane, Australia. Julia is my guest, who's just above me, has organised Eliza White. We'll put the name Eliza White Buffalo because that's going to be part of our conversation tonight. And for those people, it's welcome to New South Wales and Victoria for coming back on stream with Queensland time. Our friends across New Zealand have come back to 9 o'clock on a Thursday night, and our good friends right at the very top there, it's 10 o'clock in the morning over there in the UK. And so without further ado, Julia's organised a really interesting conversation to take place tonight with Eliza, and it's over to my good friend Julia.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Dreaming the New Dream. Yes, I'm really excited because we have Eliza White Buffalo joining us today. I've actually been following her on Facebook because she's been posting a lot about shamanism and always comes from the heart. But I'll give you a little background on Eliza before we hand over to start talking to Eliza. So Eliza was born into a Catholic family in Northern Ireland in 1965, exactly 1 year before I entered the world. So the same generation Eliza. And Eliza White Buffalo is the twin flame of Lakota holy man, Nicholas Black Elk, who lived between 1863 to 1950. As a child, Eliza had many paranormal abilities. And like most children with paranormal abilities, she would hide because there was lots of voices and confusing information. So she'd hide in a cupboard and go to a space she called the Green to be with Black Elk, who was obviously taking care of her in spirit and feel safe. So welcome, Eliza.
Thank you, Julia. It's very good to be here.
Great. So yeah, I guess we just start with, as a kid, you were able to hear and feel spirits or voices?
Yes, and I didn't really know what that was at that time because I suppose because it happened from very early on, I believe from infancy, and at least Black Elk tells me from infancy that I was very much aware of him and many other spirits. So I kind of grew up not realizing that was different. And I was 6 years old before I actually realized that that was something that was different. And of course I went to my mother with it, and my mother couldn't understand it, couldn't accept it. So when I was about 6 years old, that's when I began to hide it from the world. But yeah, up until then, I was very much hearing voices, seeing other people, as I would see my grandfather who lived with us. So I would see my grandfather in the house, and I would also see Black Elk, and I didn't know that there was a difference between them. So that's how real it was for me in tiny childhood.
Wow. And did Black Elk always appear to you in Native American gear, or did he sort of dress up to fit into Irish circumstances?
No. When I was very small, he always appeared with a black suit on, a black suit and a white tie, which he wore for his catechist work. He was a Catholic catechist. So he would wear that suit, and he even had a Bible with a white cross in the front of a little black Bible with white cross in front. So he was very Catholic at that time, but obviously that's because I was being coached as a Catholic from my parents. So I got the Catholic energy from him as well, but also kind of merging into the Lakota religion as well. But yeah, the black suit, nothing on his head, an ordinary pipe that you would see your grandfather smoking. And although he would speak in a funny voice, and he would sometimes speak in Lakota, which sometimes I understood and sometimes I didn't.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Well, I didn't think that it was any different than anybody else. When I was 6 years old, I can remember it distinctly. I can remember sitting on a pavement with a friend of mine called Maria, and I said to her, "What's your Indian like?" because I couldn't see him. And she didn't understand. She couldn't understand what I meant. And I got a strange feeling. And Black Elk says to me, ask your mom. And she was, there's no such thing as ghosts.
Yeah. Did they worry that you were going mad or something?
Well, I think the general attitude in our house whenever I was a child was that she's a little bit strange.
So none of your siblings or rest of the family had that ability, or your grandmother or anybody? It was just you?
I don't believe so. I have my suspicions of one of them, but obviously I don't want to say live which one that is because that's his personal stuff. But yeah, when I was about maybe 11 years old, 10, 11 years old, then the kids all started to call me a witch and wolf boy. Because my hair was a bit crazy too, like it is now, and because I was a bit strange, so they called me wolf boy and witch and all sorts of things. That's just the way it was.
Yeah. So how did it develop from then? From then, you basically, he was with you, and as you grew up and presumably became a teenager and started reading, I don't know, when did you find out what kind of an Indian he was in the first place? Sort of, did you read up for it? Or?
Yeah, he's just prompting me here, reminding me. He said it was when I was around 8, 9 years old that he decided that it was time to tell me who I was, to remind me of why I was here in the first place. And that was not necessarily solely because of him, solely because of his work, but certainly because we two are one. That was part and parcel of what it was, why I was here. So about 8, 9 years old, things began to change. I began to spend more time in the spirit world, still believing that the two worlds was the same world, not realizing that that everybody just lived in the world that was mommy and daddy and brothers and sisters. I thought that everybody had this experience where they had two things going at the same time, two stories running at the same time. So the story began to change when I was about 8 or 9. And that's when he began to dress in Lakota dress. That's when he began to speak Lakota more. That's when he says to me now, he's saying, that's when I began to speak to the grandfathers. So he began to speak to the grandfathers and the powers of the universe. And they spoke back to him and showed us pictures of what it was that the two of us would do together in the world as one picture.
It sure sounds like it was very planned and meticulously executed, because he intervened, or was close to you at a time. 8 or 9 is when usually the ego kicks in. We start developing our own personality and take on assumed personalities. So what was the two of you planned to do? I mean, I know he had a big vision and a dream about peace and unity in the world.
Yeah.
And I suspect that you were a part of that too.
That's right. When I was 8, 9 years old, at that time it was meticulous. It was very well designed around my age, my spiritual and my mental and my emotional maturity development and my sexual development. So everything in my life, even the number of people in my family, which was 7, everything in my life was designed to wake me up to this story between Black Elk and I. And at 8, 9 years old, he began to show me parts of his life, the vision that he had when he was 9 years old. In particular, the flaming teepee, which is a very important part of his vision, a teepee that was on fire with the spirit. with 6 grandfathers inside it. And he showed me that. He showed me several things, several visions. But mostly he was very orientated towards my happiness and my development emotionally, especially with my nervous system. So he would tell me about myself, about how special I was, how good I was, that I was a good little girl, that I was loved. He would talk about difficulties in my life, and he would help me to see them with a positive viewpoint. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he was kind of like pouring healing balm over everything that was going on with me in my life. So of course I had a lot of difficulties. I was slightly autistic, and so it was difficult for me to interact with the physical world, and he helped me with that as well. But
That's
yeah,
really
our plan.
Because Black Elk, in the history when he's written up, it says basically that 9 was when he had the visions, and he found his calling to be a medicine man or a holy man of the Oglala Lakota people, right?
That's part of the meticulous nature of all of this, because at 9 years old, after 9 years in life, you're ready to mentally develop more. And part of that mental development was the sort of interdimensional understanding and awareness of the self. So for him, that happened at 9 years old. So he chose 8, 9 years old for me because of that reason. Not because it was something that was nostalgic to him in any way, but because I would have been ready for it, mentally ready for it at that stage. Mm. I guess you could say mentally ready to delve into my shamanism, my shamanistic nature.
So you basically were already doing shamanic journeying and living in the two worlds when you were basically from 9 years onwards. You're already doing that.
That's right, yeah.
You didn't have to train for it or anything. You didn't have to go in the desert for 2 weeks.
No, it was just who I was. I thought everybody was the same. I think it wasn't really until I was about 12 or 13 years old that I began to I guess you could say I began to try to take steps to control it, to separate the two worlds, to a really bad result.
Oh, okay. Tell us more.
Well, when I was 13, I had an experience where things in my life were getting extremely difficult, and I was beginning to attempt to shut down, to separate the two stories that I was living, and I guess I remember feeling and thinking about suicide, and I remember thinking and feeling that if I was to die as the little girl, then I could be with Black Elk forever. But he was saying to me, no, actually what's going to happen is you're going to go into the wilderness and it's going to seem to you like I'm gone forever, but I will never, ever truly be gone. And I remember saying to him that, no, I don't believe that. I will never reject you. I will never want to be without you. You're not getting rid of me, kind of thing. But it happened. 13 years old, I shut down. I went into a very dark stage of my life. I became bulimic. I became anorexic. Really hated myself. Was trying to commit suicide. And it never really stopped until I was about 29 years old. And that's, of course, when I met my husband, my soulmate. And I guess he taught me how to love myself. And yeah, it was a sad story, but all sad stories are great stories too.
It is sad in a way that, you'd think that kids who, like you, who have the gift of the two worlds, which, a lot of us only discover as adults after lots of work, that they would be in a situation where, you would be, I don't know what the actual motivation was, that you wouldn't feel that you fitted in, or that it was just too hard to handle, that you would go to the point of, actually contemplating suicide.
Yeah,
I guess not being understood.
I tried to choose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did. I tried to choose, and I ended up doing the only thing that was necessary, really, which was connecting with this world, and that took me till about 20, 27, 28, 29 before I actually began to seriously try to live in this world. And then 36 years old, I had a near-death experience in a car accident. I died for about a minute just. And that's when I met Hilarion. And he sent me back. And Black Elk very shortly followed. And I was looking at Black Elk. I said, I remember you. But no, thank you. I don't want to go there anymore. Because by that stage, I then believed that it was because of him and because of that story in my life that things were difficult. That my life was difficult because I was different. So I didn't want to be different any longer.
So that was at 36 still. What happened to make you change your mind?
That was at 36. Well, I was filled with light, Julia. I mean, it sounds a bit sort of generic and cliche, but I went into the light. I went through a tunnel. I met with a light being. I believed his name was Paul, but it was actually Saint Paul who is an incarnation of the Master Hilarion. And he said to me, "No, you've got work. You go back." And I asked not to, because it was so beautiful there and so lovely. But I went back, and I woke up 3 weeks later. I woke up in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, and I said, "Okay, this is the way it is. Let's see what I can make of it." And that's when Black Elk came in again, and it was all positive energy from then on in, or at least it was mostly positive energy from then on in. Looking forward.
Hurrah. Yeah, hooray! Because you went on. You went on to write 4 novels, the Two Roads Trilogy, Letters from Rose, and lots of different books. And judging by all the audience that you've got, Angel and Julie and Kim and Vanya, everybody's very happy, and Melissa, and there's Cheryl, and they're all saying that you do excellent work. You've been working with someone in New York.
They're all good friends now. I've met so many friends around the world on Facebook. I began, I think, 2009, when my first book was published. I got online, I got on Facebook. I didn't know what I was doing, but I met most of those people then, and I've got so many friends around the world now because of it. But yeah, it was 2008, and I was going to England, to Dorset, to see a friend of mine, Lou Jones, who was a wonderful mentor for me at that time. And I was on the plane, and the in-flight magazine that you get that sells the duty-free stuff and all of that? Black Elk said, pick up the magazine. So I picked it up and opened it at an article about J.K. Rowling. And Black Elk said to me, that's what we'll do, one book after another. And I thought, 7 books? But no, there's actually 4 books, 4 novels. So we went to England, and I was telling Lou about it, and Black Elk overshadowed Lou because she's a great medium, and she was able to bring through the plot of the first book. And I went home and began to write, and 8 months later, it was written. It's a big, thick book. And yeah, it's a good book. And then immediately we began to write book 2. Black Elk channeled more in book 2 and brought through the sort of the nature of the soul and what he calls the 4 sense, which was part of his journey, but is really the sort of as the soul ascends, mind, body, spirit, and emotion. Those are the 4 sense. Those are the true 4 sense. So he talked about that a lot in the book, and we talk a lot about our past lives and how the soul progressed, the great vision, and how that's progressing. And then we immediately went into book 3, which is about my connection with him as a kid and how he taught me and the way that he taught me. It's a very beautiful book. It brings out the innocence in everyone, brings out that immaculate child in everyone, you know, that knows, that understands, and that memory of who they are. It brings that out. And then that was channeled a great deal. And when it was over, I didn't understand half of it. And I said to because it wasn't just channeled from Black Elk, it was channeled from other spirits too. And I said, listen, guys, I'm not sure I understand this. And they said, leave it as it is. Don't touch a thing. So I had to put that out and trust. Of course, I understand it now. But then came book 4, and book 4 was written in 6 days. Letters from Rose. And it's set in the future when Rose is the main character based on myself. And she's passed over and she's in the spirit world with her spirit team, with Black Elk and all the guys. And she's talking to her granddaughter, who's a medium here on Earth. And she sends letters through automatic writing. And Black Elk speaks, and his son speaks, and Padre Pio, St. Patrick Pio speaks, and a lot of spirits speaks in that way about the spirit world and the nature of the soul and who we are and who everyone is and who we are together and this new earth that we're looking at, but mainly about his great vision and what that meant, which actually was about the new earth, which was about the nature of the soul and how we are all one together and how we have one father and one mother, and we're under this great flowering tree of spirituality that brings us all together as one family, as one soul, really, as one person, really, and or one mind. And that's his vision for us all to actualize that within each of our own hearts. So he would say to me, it's here in everybody. It's in the crystalline structure of their spiritual heart. And once the person comes into their spiritual heart in this way, then the red stone of power will sing. And that's what we call now that crystalline rose frequency or mastery frequency that we see, that the spiritual and the physical merged as one, the red and the white merged as one. So that beautiful rose pink frequency that we all have. And once we come into that begins to sing, and our song, our true soul's mission or expression is sung in the world, and the world transforms to match that. So it's a great vision.
Yeah, and that's beautifully explained, because I think we all we've all experienced being in the flow and synchronicity, but we maybe haven't just put to, and a lot of people, especially people in this show, both in the audience and guests are focusing on trying to live from the heart and embody heart, but that the frequency and the sound and the song and the universe matching that. Yes, you put it very elegantly, very simply together.
Yeah, it is that simple, isn't it?
So, just ignore everything else that's happening in the world.
Well, everything else, I guess, is part and parcel of the I within too. So, of the ego. So, as I sit here and talk to you, everything that's in the world, everything that I'm aware of in the world, even what I'm looking at, even you as I'm speaking to you now, is an aspect of the I within. And so I've got two choices. It's in this very, very simple moment, which is here and now. I've got two choices. Either I accept myself or I reject myself. And so I choose to accept myself because that's self-loving.
Hey, one of your questions I wanted to raise was when you were young and you had your near-death experience, and St. Paul came to you, another aspect of Lemurian, and he told you to go back. When you came back, did you feel guilty, or did you feel filled with grief that you had to come back into this earth plane rather than why me? Why can't I go the other side? Or were you feeling when you came back on this plane that you were guilty that why you had to stay here to really carry the mantle that Black Elk carried all those years ago when he was on the earth plane? Is there I just wanted to get an understanding of where your heart placed when you came
back. My heart was there. It's difficult for me to remember exactly because I was so poorly. I mean, I had been 3 weeks unconscious and had almost died completely. So when I woke up, I was very poorly and in and out of consciousness a lot for quite a few weeks. But I remember a great sense of hope. I remember a great sense of this is a good thing. And I don't remember feeling that why me, or oh, this is another terrible thing that's happened in my life. Or it was like magic, Jeff. Suddenly I was thinking positively. And I think it was because just Black Elk is saying to me now, it is purely down to the fact that he said that I was getting a lot of attention. So there I was in hospital. I was getting a lot of attention. Something spectacular had happened to me, he said. And I was excited again. I was moved again. He said that passionate energy that you see in me today, which wasn't in me before I had the accident, suddenly it was there again, and it was on the move. And you can't lie down and feel sorry for yourself when that passion is moving, because you react with hope, you react with positivity, you react with excitement, and you react with that energy of, okay, what do we do now? What am I going to do now? Something good. Yes, let's go. And kind of that's where I was.
So when your partner, the male fellow, the romance came, did he just offer, was he your lighthouse? Was he your anchor to stabilize, give you stability in the environment?
Very much so.
So because you mentioned about two worlds, that world, this world, by you're 9 years old and going into the cupboard and all that stuff and going into that green space. So now you realize that you couldn't have Black Elk because he's on the other side. So now you got your man here on the earth plane who gave you that additional strength.
Yeah.
Would that be the correct way of saying that?
That is absolutely correct, Jeff. And I had an experience of that before he came along. I was 26 years old, 25 years old, and I was in a psychiatric hospital. I was pretty much catatonic for a while. People couldn't reach me. Do you remember I said I was choosing to leave this world and stay in the spirit world? So I had finally managed to do that, and the nurses were trying to contact me, but to no avail. But my uncle, my father's brother, came in to visit me, and he's the same soul energy as well. So when I say that I'm the same soul energy as Black Elk, my uncle is as well, and I call him Uncle Jerry in my book. But he came to see me, and he was bringing Black Elk's energy in a physical way. So I wasn't reconnected yet to Black Elk. So he was bringing Black Elk's energy in a physical way, and that was helping me to come out of the spiritual world where I had decided to stay for good. And I feel that was that created a scenario where I could recognize a doorway. He's just telling me now I could recognize a doorway between that world and this world. Sometimes I don't know these things, Jeff. What I'm telling you now about that doorway, I didn't know before. I just said it, but Black Elk is telling me this is the way that it was. And then I kind of understand that. And so when I met my husband, it was very much that I got to experience an anchor, as you say, in this world. But also because there was that sort of need to leave this world and be in the spirit world, the door began to open very, very slowly. And very, very slowly, because I was frightened. Mm. You know, even after meeting my husband, I met him in 1993. I didn't have the near-death experience until 2002. And so it took all of those 8 years for me to open that door, just enough for me to slip through. And that's what happened in the near-death experience. So the door was open then, and I was able to come and go.
Right. Well, thank you.
Just for our listeners, sorry, Jeff. Just for our listeners, you're doing shamanic work now as well. Can you just describe sort of how you use your access to the other world to help people?
How I describe my access to the other world to help people? I guess it's been such a long journey. I began talking to people, talking to the spirit team at the same time, talking to the spirits connected to them, and tried to help them that way, by passing messages back and forth, doing a little bit of healing energy. And then I did some soul retrievals, underworld journeys, that kind of basic classic shamanism. But then I think as time went on and I became more risen in myself, I became more ascended in my own soul and reached frequencies of multidimensional experience. And of course, as I was reaching higher frequencies, I was experiencing more and more of the multidimensional nature. At one stage, Black Elk said to me, now the doors are all open to you. So not only had I that door into the spirit world, but I had a door into all of the dimensions. I accepted the dimensions that I wasn't ready for yet, which was 10 and 11. But at that time, right up through to the 9th dimension, I was capable of experience, and that was in 2012. And so what I do now, I reach the dimension which is the 11th dimension, and my body disappears. I don't have a body anymore. I'm just a mind or soul or whatever, consciousness. To help other people, I ask them what it is that they need. They tell me what it is that they need, and I know without a doubt that I'm going to get that I'm going to be able to see the way forwards for them at least. because I don't feel that there's any place in the multidimensional universe that I can't go to, whether it's dark or light. I've been to the darkest places and the lightest, and of course the light keeps getting lighter and the dark keeps getting darker. That's the thing. So there's always more. But yeah, I do work such as people, you know, want me to clear what they call negative energies or bad spirits. And sometimes they're pretty tricky energies, but because I've been there to that part of myself, then there's no fear in me going there again. I just
So
meet
you
it.
actually own it. You just, yeah.
Well, it's just another aspect of myself.
Hey, you mentioned our good mate Lemurian. So he's got the job as a librarian, isn't it? So
He's got a big job.
yeah, you can tap into him and you got the library card to go into those records, haven't you?
For me, he doesn't hold that library for me. For me, to go to the library, I would I go to the Akashic records, or what I call the purple world. People call it the Akashic records or Metatron. For me, it was never any of the masters nor Hilarion that did that for me. It was always just the purple world. And in the purple world, I would go and there'd be a plinth with a book, and I'd look at the book, and I guess maybe that's the Akashic records. I don't know, but for me, that's a great big hall and it's purple, and there's lots of doors, and there's a plinth, and there's the book, and every story is written in the book. But Hilarion for me was more about the mediumship and healing and precipitation and truth. So for me, he was always connected with my throat chakra, connected with opening the way for Black Elk to come through, to merge, even for, it's the same thing for the physical world to transmute and transform. This needs to be opened and in tune. And for me, Hilarion was always about this.
So how do you, when you go into the purple room and you go to the plinth and read the book, obviously it's in a different time and space, and then you could be back in your body within a nanosecond.
That's
How
right.
do you actually bring that knowledge through into this earth plane? Do you simply just write love letters, you know, to Lemurian or Black Elk, or do you just start writing and it just...
That's a good question. Yeah. It's a difficult one, Jeff, because when I access it consciously, if I was to sit down and go there now, it comes through as pictures and awareness, memories, voices, people, spirits, all sorts of information that I gather as if I'm experiencing it. And then I kind of use automatic writing as I'm experiencing it. I'm writing or typing into a Word document, and the experience is unfolding as it goes. So I don't really know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. Well, then it's already recorded. Sometimes, especially when it comes to my Akashic records, my story, because we're always most afraid of that, aren't we? So I'll see that in my dreams. I think a lot of people have this experience where you see it in your dreams, and I'm trying to read the book and I can see the words, but my eyes are like this because the light is blinding me and I can't quite read. and maybe I hear a song or I hear somebody saying something to me, but my ears are a bit fluffy and I can't quite hear. It's like, sorry, what is that again? Because you're kind of a little bit in awe of your own light. When you see that what's ahead, it's so bright that you have that feeling of being a little bit in awe. So you're afraid, like St. Paul was when he was
On
What was his
On the
name?
road to
Saul.
Damascus.
Yeah, Saul on the road to Damascus, who's blinded by the light. Yeah, exactly. So I have that experience a lot.
Blinded by the light.
Yeah, that's a song, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eliza,
yeah.
just a quick, sorry to cut you off, but we've got a couple of things to race through, but just a quick question from one of our listeners, Nicole. She's saying, any messages for these crazy times at the moment? And presumably that's to you and Black Elk.
Yeah, of course, that's been a conversation between myself and Black Elk for a very long time now. And you know, I went through the process of wanting to know what this was all about, and blah, 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 and lockdown and the boredom and all of this. And throughout it all, Black Elk would say to me, you know, remember that no matter what's happening in the world out there, no matter what you're experiencing in your life, it is an aspect of your consciousness. And you have a choice in this moment whether to accept it or to resist it. And if you resist it, and if you say no to it, and if you try to fight it and put up some kind of opposition, then you're doing that to yourself. So be very careful what you listen to, what you give your energy to, and try to stay in the moment. This is what I always said to me, Eliza, just stay in the moment, come back into the moment and look. He used to say to me, don't try to see too far out there, thinking about the big world. Just see what's here and now, and the conversation that you're having, the people that are in the room, what you're actually physically doing now, and find your merged happiness with that. Find your peace here, and accept what's here, right here and now. And don't try to listen too much to what's going on out there, because you're going to know it anyway. You know, it's like when people say, I don't listen to the news every night, but I know what's going on in the world, you know. So you're going to get that anyway. The best thing you can do is be empowered by staying in the here and now, and saying, okay, do I choose to love myself, or do I choose to oppose myself right now? And it is that simple, as we said before.
Yeah.
It is that simple.
Yeah.
So that
about
was
separation
advice.
or unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been
you. Thank you for that. And you're also, I mean, you know, that's exactly when we choose to be scared or separate or worry or give our attention to stuff that's happening outside of us, it diffuses our energy, it scatters them.
It does,
and dilutes us.
Yeah.
I understand that you have had memories of living in Lemuria, and that you still now work with your soul family from there.
That's right.
Anyway, let's talk about the memories of Lemuria first, because it's so exciting.
Yes, it is exciting, isn't it? You know, that this place actually existed, you know, it is part of us, it's part of our history, you know, and although a lot of people kind of would debate whether it was real or not, but for me it was real. A large part of the world, a very high frequency, and it was one of the it was the first incarnation that I had into physical matter. My memories. This is in book 2, The Four Ascents. It was 2010, and Black Elk was showing me videos of past incarnations, and just describing the nature of the soul and how it develops and progresses into physical matter. And he showed me a particular video of myself as, of all creatures, a large ox on Lemuria. So I was this big heavy four-legged creature, munching away at grass. And I remember the feeling of being so big and thick and heavy. Of course, when your conscious experience before that and up to that has been of lightness and able to move and shift about very, very easily just with thought, then to actually feel this heavy physicality was a huge, huge change for me, and I remember the feeling of, oh my goodness, how do I actually physically move? You know, how do I get from here to there? And it was very cumbersome. And then he showed me a video of myself in the waters of Lemuria, which is that sort of beautiful turquoise color. I'm very much in the throes of those memories now, which is why I like to wear blue and white. But I was in the waters, and it has actually taken me until recent years, maybe about 3-4 years ago, to actually remember the experience of being a mirror person, which was very exciting. And I got this spirit came through. Of course, all the spirits that you connect with, your spirit guides, other spirits, other people, everything's just an aspect of you. And so an aspect of my consciousness was waking up, and it was coming to me in awareness of a kind of mirror person called Aveline. And Aveline had the twin flame, of course, and his name was Andrew. So I had these two pieces of a certain aspect coming to me, male and female, Aveline and Andrew, merpeople, and helped me to remember the experience of being underwater, and of being a physical creature, and being able to move through vortices underneath the water, and able to move through time, to move through time in Lemuria, because there were so many different stages of Lemuria, different frequencies. The frequency went from a frequency of the physicality was like a myriad of energy moving all the time, like as if you were on LSD or something. Not that I was ever on LSD. But
disclaimer.
You see the psychedelic, sort of images of people on LSD and everything, the age of Aquarius and all these colors moving and swirling about. And so it was kind of a wee bit like that at the beginning. And then it goes through different stages or different ages of Lemuria until I experienced actually being on the land as a mer person, and lying on the land itself, kind of like a manatee with a head rather than
a tail, hopefully.
It looked like a sort of a primitive
eating seagrass.
Yeah.
And, eating seagrass was what I was
eating seagrass, yeah. Well, I was lying there, and Black Elk helped me then to show me how to get back into the water, and that's when Aveline and Andrew started to show me the vortices, how I was moving through time. And at that stage we brought the physical earth, which of course is this. We brought the physical earth through one of those vortices and onto the shores of a brand new Lemurian world, which is the world that we're in now. So I refuse to give my energy to a negative viewpoint of this world. So whenever I do see COVID still going on, and I see different things going on in the world, and the prospect of things happening in the world, I choose to see the positivity and the light within that. Because of course, this Black Elk taught me one thing. He taught me this. He said that no matter what it is, whether it's a situation, a person, a moment, a speech, an item, an experience, whatever it is, it's got two equal roads in it. And which one you experience and which one actually gets to manifest is the one that you give your energy to.
Great.
So I choose the lighter side of COVID. I don't look at the negativities of COVID. I don't look at the fears. I look at the hope of a world where we're all we've got a different immune system, you know, and things like that. I'll try to find the truth in everything.
So basically, what you're saying is that you're transmuting that energy into love.
Yeah.
A interesting concept that you found yourself as an ox, and in this life here, you've taken on the totem of a buffalo, and both beasts of domestic.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, big, heavy domestic bovine animals. Yeah, bovine, is that the correct word? I think it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what you use for pulling the plow, or you're pulling the cart.
Yeah.
Provide the meat, then you can provide
heavy work.
Yeah.
Black Elk has said heavy work. It's heavy work, and it's or light work, depending on what way you look at it. But it's also there's a lot of hope in that energy. So of course, the heavier something is, the lighter it is. You know, it has its equal opposite. But for me, the main totem, although I am a white buffalo, I'm also a seal, which is kind of playfulness. I'm a white horse, which is that sort of sense of freedom. The bear is about medicines, and the eagle, you know, reaching the sun and that. But for me, the greatest totem in this life is the snake. I'm a snake person, and that's the healing abilities that I have. So I'm a good healer. And you know, so if you look at it, you know, I've been able to heal my life, transform a very, very heavy ox into an extremely light white buffalo.
So did Black Elk take you into a meditation journey to take you to that point of coming across the buffalo, or how did you?
How did that come about? Yeah, it was. It's kind of always been there. It's as far as back as I remember, maybe 5 years old or 4, I don't know. But he used to call me Little Buffalo or Little White Buffalo, and they'd call me Eleanor. It called me quite a few things, you know. He used to call me Minesta, which is a name that Grace Cook was called. She's actually part of our soul group as well. So, and I have her qualities with the mediumship, the physical mediumship that she has, and the same guide in White Eagle. But so he called me Minesta, he called me Eleanor, he called me Little Buffalo, he called me White Buffalo. He explained to me from about 8 to 9 years old what the white buffalo was. Do you remember he said to me around 12, 13 that I would go into the wilderness. He said I would look in the wilderness, I would look for white buffaloes, other white buffaloes, calves, and I would find them and they would remind me who I was. So I guess that's like when you connect with another, like such as I connect with you and Julia there, I'm looking at two aspects of myself, and that's waking up in me again. Those aspects of myself are starting to come to the forefront of my consciousness again. So I guess that's what he meant.
In Greek mythology, Apollo, who is the god of healing, he had a son. He was the god of medicine, and he always used snakes. He was really strong with snakes. So there seems to be every country, every indigenous tribe has a relationship with the animal kingdom, don't they?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Whenever I was about, oh gosh, how many years ago? Maybe 17, 18 years ago. It was shortly after the accident, after the near-death experience. I was being contacted by White Buffalo Calf Pipe Woman. And of course, like many women now, I thought, oh gosh, is she me? Am I she? And of course we all are, because it's the avatar, it's the savior, or the Christ, that white energy in our hearts, a crystalline energy in our hearts. That's who she is, the divine feminine aspect of ourselves. But at that time, I asked Black Elk, about this feeling that I had. Can you help me to understand why I feel like this? And one of the things he said to me then was, you once were a Lakota girl called White Buffalo, and you were 16-year-old when her father died, and Black Elk was incarnate as her father at that time. So at that time, White Buffalo was the daughter of her twin flame, her father. And Black Elk's just making a joke, throwing me off a little bit. He said, as all little girls do, believe that they're with their twin flame and that's their father. I don't know if you understand that or not. He won't give up, so I'm going to have to tell you. He's talking about the fact that the first idea of the twin flame, or the first idea of a divine masculine self in a little girl's life, is her father, of course. That's God. That's the divine masculine presence in her life. And she learns from him, externalized her divine masculine onto him. And so this little girl, White Buffalo, she was with her twin flame, which was her father. And when she was 16-year-old, he died. She fell off a cliff. She was shamanizing at the top of a cliff, and she fell. And her father tried to save her, and he managed to pull her up, but he had a heart attack or some kind of attack, and he died. And she was filled with a sort of a sense of responsibility, and this kind of also patterned my life. I don't have a picture of her here. But I do have a picture of her, because I had a psychic artist once draw me or paint me a picture of a spirit guide, and I said, just go with it, whatever you see. And he painted a picture of her, which was very interesting, because she had a little scar like Harry Potter on her head here, and she had tears in her eyes. And the reason why she had this scar was because she was struck by lightning at that time, and which is why she fell off the cliff. She was struck by lightning. And so she had this scar on her head, and she had tears in her eyes, which represented the sense of heaviness and responsibility that she felt that she had to carry on her father's work. And I guess I felt that all my life as well, this heaviness and the sense of responsibility weighed very heavy on me, that Black Elk had given me this whenever I was a child, and I had done nothing with it. And then I started to wake up again, and again it was like, oh my gosh, this is too big, this is too big. No, because we always think that our energies, our soul energy is too big, but actually it's not too big for us at all.
Hey, I just want to, most people, when you talk about Lakota, they're not quite sure. It's actually Lakota Sioux tribe, isn't it?
Lakota, yeah.
Would find that if they looked at all the 400 different tribes that are in North America, they'll find that they're more in North and South Dakota, and they'll actually.
That's right, yeah.
South, into the next state down, but
yeah,
because the capital of South Dakota is Sioux City. I mean, it's quite a strong influence on those Black Hills as well, with the spiritual connection.
Yeah. And Black Elk's energy is very much in the Black Hills, of course. Yeah.
So I mean, most people would find it really remarkable that with someone like your connection.
A little Irish girl.
yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
And Catholic.
History, it just goes to show you that a masterpiece can be written in any part of this world, doesn't it?
That's right, indeed. Well, yes, and I'm sorry, but as a shaman, then I always have to take everything back to oneness. On the level of geography, and the world is separated into different countries, then yes, and different cultures, then absolutely it's quite astounding that a young Irish girl could have this Indian who's saying, well, do you know what, you're me, and this is what we're doing. We're doing this work, and this is the vision that we had, and we want to carry that prophecy forward into the world so that everybody can realize the prophecy in their own souls. So that's a massive, massive thing that I guess I felt that burden of responsibility, because obviously I was choosing to feel that. But from the perspective that I am the creator of the universe, or the co-creator of the universe, whereas everything that I see around me in the universe as it is now, past, present, and future, is all just my consciousness. It's all here or wherever it is, wherever consciousness is. And Black Elk and the Black Hills and the Lakota and South Dakota and North Dakota and Wyoming and Minnesota, that's all just part of my consciousness. So it's kind of like, it looks like it's separate, but it's not separate at the same time.
Hey, you brought up a really interesting point before. Sorry, Julia. You mentioned when you do your automatic writing, it's almost like you're writing a letter to the creator, and you might write your letter and then you send it off. Then you would have a cup of tea or something, and shortly afterwards you just get this impression, or you might get a verse from a song, or a lyric from a song, or whatever, and all of a sudden you just start penning it down and you start writing, and all of a sudden you've written your book in 6 days. Is that how that?
No, it's crazy. With all my books, I didn't really know what it was that I was going to write beforehand, but I waited for the cue, and the first cue came with the first book, and I heard Rose was in the cupboard. She had been there all afternoon. No one was looking for her. So I got on my laptop and I started to write, and it just came from there. 8 months it was done. Second book, in the beginning there was nothing. I am nothing, yet I am. And so I started writing from there. Third book came, You Are Going Back to Your Childhood. I wrote You Are Going Back to Your Childhood, and the book developed out of that. And it was written in quite a long time. It took me about 6 months, and then about a year later, I stopped for about a year, and then a year later I did another 6 months. And then the fourth book came, and I knew it was going to be written very quickly. Black Elk had prepared me beforehand, saying that it's going to stream pure, and you're not going to know what you're writing. You're just going to write it down automatically. And he said, I want you to take yourself away from all distractions. So I hired a little cottage in Donegal, a little thatched cottage. It was beautiful. In January, I can't remember what year it was, 2017 maybe, 2018. And I sat down, and I still didn't know how to start. Went out, got something to eat that night, and I saw a star up in the hills, up in the mountain. Well, it turned out it was like a big sort of monument type thing that was lit up, but it looked like a big star was sitting in the mountain. And I felt then, okay, so we're going to write about the star origins. And I came back to the house, and I sat down, and I heard, You are beautiful where you are. So I wrote, You are beautiful where you are, and it just 6 days later it was gone. It took about maybe 8 hours every day for 6 days, and Black Elk would speak for a while, and then St. Patrick Pio would speak for a while, and then Ben Black Elk would speak for a while, Grace Cook would speak for a while, Arthur Conan Doyle would speak for a while, and then maybe go back to Black Elk. And then after each chapter, I would read what I had written. And some of it I would say, oh, gosh, I don't know. And they would say, no, leave it, it's fine. So I left it and I just put it out, just like that. Came home and started to edit it, really tidy up the just the spelling and stuff like that. Because when you're doing automatic writing, your spelling's all over the place.
Hey, I just learnt on Office 365 and the upgrade of Word, it's got dictate now. So you can just start talking and you go full stop, you put comma, does it all for you now. You just talk, just like buddy Star Trek.
All right.
Yeah.
That would have been useful.
I just discovered it the other day.
It took me a long time to get the grammar and the punctuation correct. That was quite a few years ago now. But I enjoyed it.
We're very lucky that you're doing the pure channeling, and you're beautiful where you are. Seemed to be a message directly for one of our listeners, Henriette Bjorn, who says that your story is very like hers. Oh. And so thank you, Henriette, for joining us and everyone else. I just want to wrap back to the vision statement you had of bringing the earth through to that dimension in Lemuria, into that brand new dimension. And I just wanted to, because I think, certainly that's something I could ascribe to. And I was certainly over the last 2 weeks, everyone's commenting that there's just these beautiful energies that are available. I did notice that on your website, you say that you work with your original soul family from Lemuria to transmit, and I like the mathematics in this, 81 energies, celestial energies, aligning with a cosmic frequency of 9 times 9. So if that's where we're headed to, what is this? What is the 9 times 9?
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Yeah, it's something that I think I understand, and yeah, and I can certainly give you the understanding that I have right now. That's my perspective, but there is a higher perspective that I don't see quite yet, of course, the 81 comes from 9 times 9. 9 times 9 is, and the 81 are aspects of myself, or aspects of, not so much aspects of attitudes or awareness, but aspects of lifetimes of awareness of a particular aspect of consciousness. So, for example, Black Elk may be one particular lifetime, Grace Cook may be another particular lifetime. And of course, Evelyn and Andrew are the culmination of all of those 81 lifetimes, 81 cardinal aspects, if you like. And 9 times 9, of course, that comes from 81, and that's why it's 81. But it's the number 9 we know is the number of completion. And we also know that there are 9, I'm just asking Black Elk to help me explain this here. We also know that there are 9 planets in our solar system that we know of. We also know that we can bodily experience 9 levels of consciousness, or 9 main dimensions of consciousness, being chakras, now in this world as it is. It used to be 7, and now we can do 9. We can't do 10 because when we move into the 10th, our body disappears, because that's a celestial world. But so we've got 9. So that's where the 9 comes from, and then the 9 times 9 is where you reach the stage where as Black Elk said, all doors are open to you, which was 9 doors to me at that stage. And then you go through the process again and again and again. So you rise, and we're always rising and incarnating and ascending and descending all at once. What's the opposite of incarnating? Discarnating? Disincarnating, yeah.
Exiting.
So, yeah, so we ascend, exiting. I like the name, I like the sound. I could do that. So we breathe in and out. We're constantly manifesting in and out of ourselves. We're constantly ascending and descending, and we're constantly moving up and processing all 9 of those dimensions into the materialization. And at the same time, as that comes back, we're breaking it down into the 9 again and moving up to a higher rung of the spiral and shifting up onto a higher frequency of that same torus, if you like, so that the next time we take 9 energies and materialize them into the world, it's of a higher frequency, therefore a lighter physicality. So 9 times 9 is the emanation that I'm emanating, and the materialization that I experience as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that explanation. It sounds like it's one level before we do the beam me up, Scotty, but before we beam out.
Well, I told you I don't quite yet understand it completely.
It sounds like it's worth, no, I get it. I think everyone will get it within their grasp of, how things work.
And then there's 81 aspects or lifetimes of me that are sort of spirit guides in the spirit team, so to speak. And as I speak and as I emanate, you're getting not just Eliza, this Irish lifetime, but you're getting Black Elk, you're getting Grace Cook, you're getting 81 energies. You're getting Aveline and Andrew.
We're getting a whole polyphony of Eliza emanations. And you're a different aspect of us. So we're filling the gaps.
So I guess we're all coming together as one, aren't we? We're coming together as one.
We're filling the holes.
Yeah.
As a side note, at Newlands in England, there is the home of White Eagle Lodge, and I happened to turn up one late afternoon, and I just asked if they had an Airbnb or had a spiritual place where pilgrims.
Sorry, can I just interrupt you? Did you say White Eagle Lodge?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I thought that's what you said.
Yeah. So they said, well, I think we could put you up in the cottage. So they put me up in Grace Cook's cottage. So so I slept in the bed there, and there's this little lady came visiting in the night. I was sound asleep, but I had this visitor coming, and then I described the woman the next day to the lady who was very magnanimously offered this cottage, and she said, "Oh, that's Gracie Cook's cottage," and that was Gracie Cook coming for a little visit. I said, "Oh, thank you very much."
Great, yeah, it was, yeah. So yeah, she's lovely. She's absolutely lovely. She was way beyond her time, and a magnificent medium. Yeah.
Julia?
Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry, Jeff. Did you have one last question before we tell everyone how they can get in touch with Eliza?
No, here you go.
I kind of don't want to go.
Oh, we're running out of time, is it? So, so if anybody wants to, from overseas or wants to connect with you, what's the best way that they do that?
Well, I'm old school. I love Facebook. Did you ever think the time would come when we'd say Facebook was old school? But I love Facebook. I love Messenger. So I'm on Messenger all day. And the best way to get me is to send me a message via Messenger, or to go on my website, which is elizawhitebuffalo.com, and send me an email from the website. Or I'm on Instagram too, as Eliza White Buffalo as well, so I'm easily found there. But yeah, social media is the best way to get in contact with me. And I don't always answer immediately, but I certainly will answer within 24 hours.
That's pretty good. Well, thank you very much, Eliza, for joining us on Dreaming the New Dream, and sharing your story and your insights and your travels.
Well, I loved it. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you to everybody that's listening.
Yeah, it's good. I appreciate it. It was really lovely to hear, and it was really insightful.
Thank you, Jeff.
Great. So good night, everyone. And next week we will have one of the First Nation Aboriginal elders joining us, Aunt Minnie Mace, to talk about butterfly dreaming and what's been going on in Uluru, and lots more exciting stuff. So follow and subscribe and like Dreaming the New Dream, and download the Radio FM app if you want 24 hours quality music for high vibrations. Thank you very much, and good night from all of us.
Hang on, there's all these people want to say hello, goodbye, and all that stuff. So hang on, we'll do the right thing more. They're just ripping.
Oh, yeah, Megan. Thank you, Megan.
Well, you're paying them to come and watch the show. They all owe you a Guinness or two.
Gusta. Angel.
All right.
Yeah.
God, they just keep coming.
Maria.
Anyway, so
That's
gonna
it.
be future. That's what we're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, they're good friends.
Yeah.
All good friends.
Yeah, here was that one. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Kim.
Thank you very much. Bless you. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.